All right, guys, what's going on? Welcome in. So, Aaron Rodgers just wrapped up another episode or appearance on the Pat McAfee show, and he touched on a lot of different things about his future. Nathaniel Hackett, we're going to talk about it, but in this one, I wanted to break down some of his comments, at least the ones that I found interesting. So, right off the bat, he said that he doesn't want to make the next couple of days, the next couple of weeks about him. It's about the Eagles, it's about the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. So he will be waiting until after the Super Bowl to make a decision about, his future, whether that be retiring, whether that be trying to stick with the Green Bay Packers or moving on. And of course, staying with the Packers is a two-way street. We all know this at this point. Green Bay, of course, has Rodgers' replacement at the quarterback position already in Jordan Love, a guy who's watched Aaron Rodgers play, a guy who's sat for years. He knows the system. There's been reports saying that Love feels good about where he's at and that he feels like he's ready to take the reins. And obviously, moving off of Aaron Rodgers, financially speaking, is a good thing. Now, there is a question about how much of a dead cap hit do the Green Bay Packers want to pay? That all depends on pre and post June trade scenarios. But let's just say, pre-June first, because, that's in the middle of the summer here. The Packers are looking at right around $40 million in a dead cap hit. So whatever the future holds for Aaron Rodgers, it's looking like that decision will be coming at least in a couple weeks, at the very least. Right. And what's really, really interesting about that, the Super Bowl is on February 12th. So you're looking at the Derek Carr situation, February 15th. That's the deadline that the Raiders have got to make a decision. Do we trade Derek Carr or do we just outright release him? There was a couple reports early this morning saying that the Raiders they have not given Derek Carr and his camp permission to seek a trade, which to me is just like, it's such a head scratcher. Like, what is the point? Like, the Raiders don't have a poker face whatsoever. Everybody in the NFL, fans all across the world, know that the Raiders are moving on from Derek Carr. You would think that them as an organization would prefer to try to establish a trade sooner rather than later so they could actually get something back in return for him. And you kind of have your cap laid out. Everything is laid out in front of you heading into free agency, which is, in March. So it's just mind-boggling how the Raiders just don't really seem like they are being proactive in the situation whatsoever as far as, getting rid of Derek Carr. But going back to Aaron Rodgers, post-Super Bowl decision, Raiders have got to make the decision right around the same time here. It's going to be really interesting to see how these things, how really the timetable of both organizations here, Green Bay and Vegas, are going to impact this quarterback market. And also, San Francisco now could be in the mix with Brock Purdy's UCL injury. It's looking like he's not going to be ready for I think it's a 6-month recovery time or something like that with Brock Purdy. Anyway, we move on in the McAfee show, and Rodgers actually said that they touched on Nathaniel Hackett, didn't really give new information. He just kind of doubled down on what everybody already knew, which was that he loves Hackett. I actually have a direct quote here. We all have certain coaches that meant a lot over the years, and Nathaniel Hackett is one of those guys. So again, nothing new. We all knew that Hackett and Rodgers were super close, but it's also really cool how, we're getting these weekly updates from Aaron himself. It's not like per sources, league sources, I'm hearing whispers around the league, that stuff. It's literally coming directly from Aaron. I like Hackett. He has been open, he has been vocal about his support of him, not only just as a guy, but as a coach. And it's really cool. You ask the question, do the Jets' odds increase after the Hackett, do the odds increase of acquiring a guy in Aaron Rodgers after the Hackett signing? I think everybody would have to say yes, even if it's just a little bit. So I do think in the grand scheme of things, it is really, really important. And then lastly, he did say, kind of threw in there, he said, sounds like there's already a lot of conversations that don't involve me, like conversations going on about a potential trade that don't involve him, which is interesting. And what's this week? It's Senior Bowl week, where all 32 teams are located in one city, right? Everybody's gathering to watch these players during the practices and whatnot, interview these players, and really, it's one big melting pot. Essentially, all 32 teams are represented. Multiple GMs are there. Not every single general manager goes. I'm not sure of what the exact list is looking like this year, but I mean, you could assume tons of GMs. I mean, in my opinion, they should go because it's just such a great opportunity to kind of get to really interview and see these players up close and personal, and really get a good feel about where certain guys stand as far as, overall big boards for teams. But at the end of the day, because all 32 teams are going to be represented and you're going to have multiple GMs in one spot, you're thinking to yourself, man, the trade talks, things like that, trade conversations, rumors, and everything like that, all that stuff should really pick up this week. In fact, Albert Breer actually did a report. I think the report either came out super, super late last night or early this morning, basically saying that the legwork for the LA Rams Detroit Lions trade began in Mobile, right? The whole Stafford Jared Goff trade, those conversations started this week. So, of course, nothing is 100% official with Rodgers' future. It's up in the air with retirement still on the table. But, if you're Joe Douglas, these conversations need to take place. If they haven't already, they have to start. They have to start, at least see what's going on. Not necessarily saying that a verbal handshake agreement has to be locked in or anything like that, but at least get a feel for what the Green Bay Packers are looking for, where they kind of stand on it, and really get a lot of the details ironed out beforehand. So once Aaron makes his decision, and, assuming that the Jets haven't made a move for Carr, or, would rather prefer to, go out and sign a Jimmy G on a cheaper contract in free agency and not have to give anything up as far as a trade is concerned. I think it's really important to just have more data, have more information. So I'll leave it there. Again, nothing really new. Nothing with Aaron Rodgers. It's never black or white. It's always kind of gray. We never really get that definitive answer. It's always just up in the air. Things are happening in the future. So it's interesting. But anyway, let me know your thoughts down below in the comments section. Thanks so much for watching. And as always, go Jets.